getting this. If I rip this, I'm gonna cry.
Rip what?
This organza.
It won't rip. Do you have a second needle minder handy?
I have one. Do I need two?
Grab another one because your soluble fabric, you'll hold it on there with these.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Hi!
Hi! Oh. Hello, everybody. Let us know. Hello. Oh, hi, Erin. Hi, Dawn.
Kristen, is there a way to see like who's on here?
Hi, Liz. Hi, Lynn. I'm just looking at the comments, so and I can just count coming through. So, hi, everybody. My stuff prepped. I've never done this before, so this is gonna be exciting. Okay. Me.
I'm not prepping anything because we'll do it together. What time is it?
I have no idea, actually. I don't know. I'm using my phone, so I can't.
7:58. Okay. All right. We'll wait a couple more minutes.
Okay. Another needle minder. Let's see if this works.
What size snap do you have? That's a big one.
Yeah, it's just a
8 by 8.
8 by 8. It's the smallest one I have.
I have a 6.
This work?
Yeah. As long as your soluble fabric is on there, that's fine.
Yeah, it's on here.
Hello, Louisiana.
Hello. I'm looking at my.
I'm gonna shut that. All right, let me check the time. I got one more minute.
I have a lot of people tuning in. How many people should be coming to this?
Well, I did a group already with the people that couldn't make it tonight. So whoever's left, I guess. I'm not sure exactly how many.
Okay.
Rory, if you're here, can you comment? Because Rory joined us on the last one and she said she was going to come back to finish. So I want to make sure she's with us.
Gotcha.
All right, it's about 8, so I'm going to get started.
Sounds good. Let's do this.
Okay. Hi guys. Thank you for purchasing one of these kits. This was a first for me and kind of an experiment. How many, Liz? Hang on a sec, Liz. We'll get there in a second.
Sorry.
Kristen's jumping the gun. So I figured out how to do a live together, which is why Kristen's here, which is cool. And I don't know if Erica and Aaron are going to join, but hello, ladies. This is awesome. I didn't know that we could do like a split screen thing. So hopefully you guys can see both of us. And I'm not just sitting here talking to myself. So yeah, Liz, hold on. We're going to get there.
That was.
Yeah. All right. So here's the box. I'm going to open it with you guys. And I'm going to do this with you start to finish. So don't feel like you need to prep anything or have anything ready. I'm going to get it all ready with you. So go ahead and open up your box if you haven't already. And inside your heart box are some items. So the only thing that you need to take out of there for now is your little bundle of floss. All right. So there's enough. Yay. Hi, Rory. There's enough floss here to finish the whole pattern. Everything else you can leave in your little box for now, unless you do not have a Q-snap or a hoop. If you don't have one, like if you stitch in hand, and the reason I'm saying this is because one of our friends on our last session is a stitch in hand person and did not have a Q-snap or a hoop. And so we made it work by using the hoop in here. So if you don't have a hoop or a Q-snap, you can use the one that's in here. And don't worry about your placement because you're going to end up taking it out before it's done. So if you're using that, that's your tip. All right, so in your little baggie, you're going to want to take out your pattern. So now you have your pattern, your floss. You're going to need your organza. So unfold it. Don't worry about the creases. Those are going to go away because we're going to get this wet. So those folds will disappear. And then you need your soluble canvas, soluble canvas. Everything else can get put away for now. And then you are also going to need, which is, you don't need it, but super helpful, 1 or 2 needle minders. So my Q-snap is not big enough for this little piece of soluble canvas. So I'm going to use my needle minders to hold it into place. So you're going to lay down your, I'm using a Q-snap. You're going to lay down your organza. You're going to put your Q-snaps on, and then I'll show you what to do with this after. So I'm going to get mine in my snap.
Oh, don't worry. We see you. If you can just, if you're watching, you exceeded the amount of people that see on the share.
Oh, maybe the go live together is only for 2 people. Possibly. That's possible. Mm-hmm. All right, so I have a teeny tiny Q-snap, but my piece is still too small to get in my little clips. So like Kristen did, is that a little conversation heart needle minder?
It is. This was from the Black Needle Society box. Isn't that the cute thing?
Really cute. All right, so I'm just using my minders the same way, and so I have it secured on there. All right, so for those that like to start in the middle of a pattern, we're not going to do that today. We are going to start on the top left. So what you're going to do is you're going to start with your light purple floss. Now, I cut these long enough so that you can loop it over and use 2 strands. So these are sulkies. And whenever I'm stitching on organza, because you can see through it, I want it to be as dense as possible. So some people, when they stitch, like to see the X's. You don't want to see that on here because you're going to be able to see right through it. So if you're using DMC, I'd use, call me crazy, 4 strands. But with sulkies, we're going to use 2. And the way that now you can do a loop start. Kristen, are you doing a loop start?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I am not. I don't like tails on the end of my needle because I drop my needle a lot. So when I drop my needle, I want it to just be looped on there. So I'm just going to take one side of thread. I'm going to thread it through my needle, and I'm going to take this end and meet it all the way down at the bottom. So I'm going to start with a tail when I start. So remember, this is organza. You can see right through it. So you don't want we can't drag stitches. And I'm going to show you how to do that because there's a spot on this pattern up here that typically I would just drag right across. So we don't want to do that because you'll be able to see everything on the back. So when we start, if you're not doing the loop method, I'm going to tuck my tail behind these 3 stitches. So we're going to start the light purple, the top left stitch. So right here. Mm-hmm. So you're going, and again, don't worry kind of where you start. We're going to take this out anyways. So it doesn't have to be in the middle, can kind of be wherever. And I am going to stitch my 3 stitches. Now, if you are a stitcher that stitches full X's, don't do that on here. You're going to want to go halves across and then cross them back. And I'll explain why as well when we get there. All right, so I'm just tucking my tail on the back underneath my half stitches. I've got 3, and I'm going to come down and I'm just going to cross them. So my crosses right now are going bottom right to top left. There will be points in here where you're going to have to go in different directions, but your X's will always cross in the same direction. All right, so I've got my 3, and I'm now in my next row. I have to go over 1. So typically, if I ended on the top, I would just kind of drag it down diagonal. But again, we can't drag this because you'll see it. So if you ended on the top left corner of your X, you're going to bring your needle to the bottom left corner and bring it to the front of your fabric. And then go from top right to bottom left for that first stitch. That way you don't have the diagonal drag behind it. Now you can keep going top right to bottom left, or you can just go straight down on the bottom if you like to go bottom left to top right.
Okay.
And if you're stitching fast, don't go ahead of me for the next line because that's kind of where it gets important. So I'm going to do these 5. And sulkies really never tangle. So if for some reason you do get a knot, you need to pull it, just be careful because your soluble fabric, actually the soluble fabric is more delicate than the organza. That will rip. So you just want to be careful with that.
So you don't really want to pull these too tight, correct?
Yeah, if the soluble canvas rips, which I've done before, it's not the end of the world, but the problem becomes you now don't have like a hole to keep your stitches in place when you dissolve it. So it just kind of, the stitch gets wonky.
Does anyone have any questions?
Everyone's stitching away. All right, so I'm gonna move down to my third row. It's 13 across, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna come down to the bottom left of that last stitch and start there, so I'm not dragging the diagonal. And I'm gonna do 13 half stitches across and then stop. So do your 13 and don't cross them back yet.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm not watching the comments.
I don't think we have any.
Okay, cool.
I think everybody is stitching away. Mm-hmm.
One tip that I have, if you don't finish this tonight, you'll be able to rewatch this. So if you need the instruction, it'll be there. But my tip would be don't leave your soluble fabric in a hoop or a Q-snap for a long period of time. So like if you're going to come back and revisit this later, take it out because that soluble will crease. And if it gets any moisture or anything in it, it'll be kind of done. It'll like soak into your organza. Where do you buy the fabric stuff? Kim, are you talking about the soluble fabric or the organza?
Because you know how long it takes me to do stuff. You know I'll be rewatching. That was Erica.
Yes, Erica, we know.
11.
I know, I'm about to count mine too.
12.
Both. Okay. Sorry, those comments fade away really fast. 11, 12, 13. Okay. So before I cross these, Kim, I'll answer your question. The organza, I get, well, both. I get both on Amazon. Organza you can find in a craft store. Typically, though, it'll be marked organza, but it's actually tulle, which I've also stitched on tulle. And it's great. Tulle is cool. But the problem with tulle is that the holes lie a little bit differently. So when your soluble fabric dissolves, your stitches can get a little bit warped. So it's fine. Like I did a peacock on tulle, and it's great because it's very clear, like it's very see-through. This organza is kind of shiny. So if you want more of like a real, clear view of what's behind it, tulle is great, but it's a little bit more delicate to stitch on. So keep that in mind. I get this on Amazon and I get it in a giant roll. People use it for like weddings. And you can get all different colors. I've stitched on black organza. I've stitched on orange organza. There's a whole slew of colors. And then the soluble fabric I get on Amazon also. DMC makes one. And then I think mine is from China. I get it in a roll. DMC comes in sheets. So either one. All right. If you have your 13, we are going to accomplish the other side of this heart over here without having to start new thread and without dragging it across this empty space. So I am going to cross 6 of my 13 stitches. So I'm just going to start going back and I'm going to cross 6 of them and then stop. Okay. So now I am going to do the row above, but I'm only going to do half stitches because I don't want to cross them and then have to drag my thread over the crossed stitches to come back down to where I left off. So I am going to go, I ended on the top left of that stitch. I'm going to go directly diagonal to the top right of the stitch above it. And I'm going to do 5 half stitches. And then I ended on the bottom left of that 5th stitch. And I'm going to go directly diagonal to the left, to the bottom left of the 3rd stitch on this top line. So now I'm doing my half stitches right to left. So Mom, I know you're on here. This is a Hebrew line. Okay. All right. So I've ended on the left side of this row of 3. So I'm going to cross them going left to right. So this way nothing's being dragged and I'm not starting new thread. And then I'm going to go down and cross my next line right to left. And then I'll be right where I left off on that row of 13. And I'm going to finish crossing them.
All right.
Makes sense?
Makes sense to me. Let's see. I need like a, need my holder, like I need my stand.
You got spoiled.
I know. Like I have to hold it with one hand. I got to stitch with one hand. 2.
And you should be getting good solid coverage too.
Yeah,
with the 2 strands if you're using the sulkies. And don't worry if your stitches don't look great, because like I said, once this stuff dissolves, for the most part, they'll stay in place, but they will get a little bit wonky when we dissolve it. So don't worry if they're not perfect, because even if they are, they won't stay perfect. Okay, so that was the first long line. The next 4 lines are just flush from one end to the other. You don't need to worry about dragging your stitches down. So you can just stitch those straight across just like you normally would on regular fabric. And then once these next 4 rows are done, the rest of it's going to go lightning fast. So trying to not miss any questions. We have a nice small group too. It was kind of nice to break it up into 2
sure. Yeah.
groups. Is anybody actually stitching or are you guys just watching? I guess if you're stitching, you can't type.
Yeah.
Hi. So weird. It's that weird feeling of you can see me, but I can't see you.
I know.
Chris, when you did your live, you were all by yourself.
Yeah, we just couldn't get this part. We couldn't get this whole, functionality like figured out before we did my live.
Yeah.
At least we know this for the future. We can have at least one of us on.
Yeah, it's awesome. Oh, good. You already stitched yours. Ahead of the game.
Allison, I'm stitching. Kara, I'm stitching. Yay!
Someone said, where do you get your ideas for these? I don't know.
Your brain.
Honestly, The last thing I stitched was that peacock. I haven't stitched since. I did this the other night. So sometimes I just get like flooded with ideas, and then other times I'm kind of at a standstill. So here we are. Oh, Alice. So, Allison, if you started with the dark purple first, that's totally fine. You can get the light purple in after. It doesn't. This is just where I started, but you can start wherever. All right, I'm out of floss, so I'm gonna change my. See how nice that is? I love that. My needle, like if I drop it, it's just there. I don't have to worry about it. I love it. So when you change your thread, just be careful when you tuck it back. Just be careful that you're not going too far forward into the organza, because you don't want to. The less you can, manipulate the organza, the better off you're going to be when we dissolve it. So just kind of be delicate when you're switching it out. And then I cut mine right up close to my stitching. Like there's no tail there at all. Because remember, whatever tails you have back there, you'll be able to see them. So cut them as close as possible. And then I'm just going to start a new line, just like I normally would on fabric.
Right back.
So again, once these 1, 2, 3, 5 long lines are done, the rest of it, I was actually surprised how fast it went the other night.
Oh, good.
I hadn't stitched this since I did the model. So, and when I did that, I didn't really time it or anything, so I wasn't sure how long it would take, but it was quick. Also, if you do buy the soluble canvas, when I first started using it, I was buying the sheets, the DMC sheets. And I was wasting an awful lot of them, because what I would do is I would use the entire sheet because I felt like I needed it to be tucked into my Q-snap to keep it tight. And so I would stitch something like real tiny. You guys know what I stitch. I stitch tiny things. And then I would take it out and I would cut off so much excess. And I just kind of came to accept that I just had to, waste whatever I wasn't using because I needed it in my Q-snap. Like, what was my alternative? And then I realized that I could hold it on there with needle minders. So now you'll get, depending on what you're stitching, but you can get several projects out of one of those DMC sheets, if you really are careful with how you cut it, versus my, one tiny little thing, and then I would just waste the rest of it. So live and learn, I guess.
Yeah, it's like when people start stitching and they, get like a full piece of fabric and then they put their pattern like right in the middle.
In the middle. Yeah, I did that too.
We all did it.
Yeah.
We're like, are we going to have enough like of a border, to finish it? You end up having like 3 feet on either side. So, yeah.
Right. And then those 3 feet we would cut off and give to Erica.
452 projects on that little.
That's correct. And she used all of them.
Ooh.
All right. I hope everyone's finding this easy, because
I think it's, yeah, this is great. Erin, are you stitching Are you stitching yours right now?
I wish those comments would stay up there. Are they fading away for you too?
They are, but if you click on that little like comment bubble,
Yeah.
you'll be able to see them temporarily.
Oh, there we go.
They won't stay, I don't believe, but
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
okay, start. I'm going to start a new thread.
One thing that made me happy the other night when we were doing this. Now we did this on a um a, we did, the first session I did for the ones that couldn't make it tonight. We did it on a Zoom, which was awesome because it was just a small group of us. But one thing that was very apparent was just the different paces of how people stitch. So if you're falling behind, don't worry.
Right.
You can rewatch and stitch at your own pace. Don't feel rushed. And I promise once these 5 rows are done, the rest is going to fly by and you'll have a finished an FFO in no time. In fact, I think the longest thing that is going to be waiting for the canvas to dissolve. One thing too that one of the girls said was that she felt like this was much easier than she thought it was going to be. So that made me happy.
Yeah. I mean, it always looks so, I don't know. I get what she's saying. It seems a little daunting and that it's going to be much more difficult than what it is. And it's just because it's a different material, um, layering the soluble over top of organza. And yeah, it's just a little intimidating. But until you do it, like, it seems just like stitching on anything else.
Exactly. It's the same thing. Anybody can do it. I think the thing that makes it unique and fun is that when you finish it, the possibilities are endless. Like you can put it in a hoop and decorate the hoop. You can put anything behind it. Then I realized that you could fill it, which that's how this came about. You know, there's so many possibilities. The one thing that I will say is I have finished these most of them in hoops, and I've also finished things on like square frames or other shapes that are not a hoop, which is doable. And I think Erin can attest to this. If you're going to finish this in something square, like a frame, getting the organza to pull tight when you're hot gluing it is challenging. And you don't want it loose, because if it's loose, you kind of lose the neatness of it. And so that's why I finish a lot of my stuff in a hoop, because obviously a hoop is going to hold it super, super tight. So you can pull it and finagle it and get it real tight in a hoop. You can't really do that if you're gluing it onto something. So just a heads up, if you're going to do these and finish them in something that's not a hoop, take extra care to pull it tight. Wait for your glue to dry before you stitch the other sides. Or I'm sorry, before you glue the other sides.
Oscar. Ozzy.
When you purchase. Okay, so soluble canvas only comes in 14 count, which when I first started this, I was a little bit bummed. I kind of wanted a higher count, but to be honest, I think that the smaller stitches may not hold up as well on the organza. So the 14 works, but No, you can't get it in a different count. This is it. So the other thing too, when you buy those DMC sheets, it says on the packaging that you get one sheet, but you actually get three. So if you're doing cost comparison, just keep that in mind. It's one package and it says there's one in there, and they're 8 by 8 pieces. So you're really getting 24 by 24 inches of the fabric. And when I get mine on a roll, I think it's 100 inches long, maybe. Does that sound really big?
100 inches?
Yeah.
No, that's like, oh, well, hold on. 100 inches would be
It's like
what the
3 yards.
12 is. What is that? Help.
Like 3 yards.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Comes on like a little roll. The other thing too is if you buy this and you store it, obviously it dissolves in water. So you just want to make sure that you're storing it somewhere dry. My dog has licked my stitching before, and it's definitely made like a little weird spot on the fabric. So
Oh, wow. It's like
um
that sensitive?
it's pretty sensitive, yeah. Like it didn't just like dissolve on her tongue, but
Yeah, right.
it got funky on the corner. All right, I'm done with my fifth row. So the next row, we're going in one on one side and in one on the other side. But again, we don't want to drag it. So I'm gonna take my thread to the top right of my second stitch. So if you're looking at the pattern, I'm just gonna move my needle in 2 spots, and then I'm gonna come down with it to the bottom left. And that way I don't have that drag in the corner. So same concept as going out, but we're taking it one stitch in.
Okay.
And whatever tails you have, just make sure that when you're cutting them that they're tucked behind a stitch or two. I have had stitches unravel. And the thing is, once this canvas is dissolved, party's over. So you can't like add a stitch once your soluble canvas isn't there. Because if you look closely at your organza, it's not there. It's just a bunch of like random threads put together. There's nothing stable about it. I don't actually understand how these stitches stay in place. It's still magic to me. I don't get it. And I've tried to add a stitch after the canvas has dissolved, and it just doesn't happen. So keep that in mind. Now, I think I gave you guys 3 strands of purple, and that should be plenty. I'm about to finish up my second one. And you should have plenty left over. If you're done with the light purple, feel free to start on the dark. My advice would be to start on the bottom so that you can tuck your tail in that line of 3.
Uh-huh.
Starting any time with a single stitch is always difficult for me because you can't cut that tail. It'll just unravel.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to get a new thread. Chris, are you done with your 5?
Oh, yeah. Yep. I'm working on
Okay.
like, the one right below the group of friends.
Okay. We're in the same spot.
Yep.
Also, needle in the mouth.
Not safe.
Not safe.
But we all do it.
I have hiccuped before. And almost took a needle to the esophagus.
Yeah, please don't do that.
Death by cross stitch.
Death by cross stitch.
Like, we own hundreds of needle minders. I don't know why I insist on putting it in my mouth. All right.
Just coming along over here.
Coming along. I told you, once you get those 5 done, it's super fast. And I know Rory is waiting for that backstitching tutorial. She got done with her dark purple and said, I don't know how to backstitch. So we are going to do that together.
Oh,
which backstitching on organza. Hello from England.
Hello.
Hello. Backstitching on organza, I always thought wouldn't work because if you think about it, what does the stitch? Oh, good, Rory. Awesome. Like, what does it have to hold on to? Again, magic. I don't really know, but it works. So, Rory, are you done? Are you just hanging out for fun, or what? How far did you get?
Waiting to finish, right?
Waiting to put it. Did you dissolve your canvas?
That is.
Hi, Christy.
The most. Hi, Christy. That is going to be the most nerve-wracking part for me. Is the dissolve.
What, the canvas?
Dissolving, yeah.
Why? That's the best part. Just disappears.
I'm so nervous.
It literally just disappears. But again, I get it because it's like, how are the stitches staying in place? It amazes me every time. And I thought too, I was too nervous. I thought too, like doing really dense things would be the only way to make this work because the stitches kind of like stick together. Sure. But I have done projects where my stitches are sort of spread out, or I've got like something over here and something over there and a couple stitches here and there. And I don't, it all just stays there. You'll see when you dissolve it. It just,
yeah, Alice,
it's unbelievable.
Just putting it in the water and then just watching the whole thing just like. I'll be left with just wet string.
Just string. Well, remember, Sarah, what did you send me that I tried and I just had wet string? Oh, what was it? It was some type of embroidery that I did. Oh, I stitched just on the soluble fabric. I didn't have the organza behind it. That's what it was. And obviously it just fell apart. So somehow, as delicate as the organza seems, it holds everything together. Yes, the embroidery. Thank you, Sarah.
Do I think that I can do this without having to get that third piece of floss?
If you're using my floss, I doubt it. I cut it kind of, well, maybe. I don't play thread chicken, so.
Let's see here. Hold on, I'm getting all
We did have so much hope, and our hope dissolved before our eyes.
All for your very eyes. Oh, hold on.
Ay, ay, ay.
Okay.
All right, I have 2 rows left.
Eh. Oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
Are you really?
Gonna make it happen. Oh, please don't let my end, like the ends of my thread, fall through my needle. Be so pissed. Let's see.
Also, frogging organza isn't great. Again, like the more you manipulate it, the less sturdy it's going to be. So if you have to frog, uh, good luck.
Boom!
You did it?
Heart is, well, the light purple is done. Okay. Yay!
All right, I'm doing my last 3. So you can grab your dark purple. And again, like I said, well, you start with a loop method, right? So if you're doing the loop method, you could really start anywhere.
Okay.
You could start at the top if you want because you don't have tails to tuck on the bottom.
Okie dokie.
And I'm so pumped. The one that I did the other night, I skipped a whole stitch. So it's all janky. So I'm excited to do this again because I'm actually doing it right.
You're like, oh. What did you
Again, if you skip a stitch, you're kind of effed.
your SOL? Your S.
Yeah. Cannot add it later. All right. Dark purple. Again, with the needle in the mouth. Jesus.
Eh.
So are you starting on the top or the bottom?
I'm starting on the bottom. No real
Ooh.
like starting on the bottom, but like you said, because I do the loop method, it doesn't really matter. So you won't be able to see my tail. I don't have one.
One thing I love about this pattern is it's so one so here the thing that I love about organza is you can FFO these things so elaborately and make them look, like these awesome projects with very minimal stitching. Like I know that's the whole point is that we love to stitch, but I get so bored with big projects. I just can't do them anymore because I never finish them.
Right.
So being able to stitch something that's tiny, but then make it into an FFO so that it doesn't feel tiny, is fun for me. Because really, this is like what 18 by 18. I mean, it doesn't get much smaller,
Very
but it's
manageable.
like a whole project.
Very manageable for beginner organza
Oh
stitch.
yeah. What did we decide was like the sweet spot for a pattern 50 by 50?
Like
We
50
were
by
talking about that the other day.
50.
Yeah, I feel like anything more than that is, and that's a no for me.
I've also found lately
What's
too,
that?
I enjoy doing, like if you have a project that has like 5 small patterns to it, I get really
Oh yeah.
after I finish like 2 of them that I don't wanna keep doing them.
Oh.
So, like, for instance, I'm working on the, Valentine's, oh, I can't remember what it's
The
called, but
fobs?
no, I did the fobs last year or the year before. These ones are I think they're with thy needle and thread. and they're the Valentines, like, saying, like, one says, "Be mine," and
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I finished 2 of them, and now I'm like, I'm done with those, I don't wanna do those anymore." So, like, I'll
Yeah,
the other ones,
I hear you.
but it's fine.
But you know what? That's the nice thing about those though is that you can just do one.
Yeah, you
And
definitely
then like
yep,
maybe you do another one next year, you know?
yeah, 100%. Yeah, I feel like if it's a series of, smaller patterns, I get bored with doing that for a while, and I wanna switch to something else, which my next piece to tackle is our retreat piece. I need to get that done.
Yeah, I see that's even almost too big for me too.
Yeah, it shouldn't take I know a lot of people have already finished theirs, it doesn't take too long, it's not huge. So, just need to do it.
Well, you have like what, 6-ish weeks?
Yeah, I'd love to get it done now that Valentine's Day is, Tuesday, and I'm kinda over the Valentine stitching, and I'm gonna get our next video will actually be getting us all, talking about our March Madness plans because March
Oh
Madness
my god, I forgot about March Madness.
so our next video, will be, hopefully talking about our plans for March Madness, and
Well, I need to get my shit together.
oh, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do this year. I don't know if I'm gonna finish projects that I started last year during March Madness, ones that I didn't, ones that didn't advance and I wanna put back
You
in running.
you could yeah, you could do like all whips.
Yeah, I thought about doing that just because I have so many of them. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I gotta figure that out. It's coming soon.
Yeah, it's around
Really,
the corner.
but it's so much fun. I love March Madness. It's if you don't know what we're talking about, which you probably do, but if you're going to join us this year, we'll be getting a bracket for 2023 posted after our video so that you can start building your bracket and joining in with us. And we'll be talking about it on our next video. And we also have a video from last year, which was like what is March Madness and how do you set up your brackets? So um, you can always watch that in the meantime.
What I love about it is that you can do it absolutely however you want it. And you can just customize it to whatever you want. Like
Yep.
I might try to do since I get, my projects are so small, I might try to do like all new starts
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
just do like commit to doing like a finish every couple of days or however I set it.
Yeah. All right. I'm done with my dark purple. Going to do all
Okay, I
make it up tomorrow. I'm not on Instagram, so I post on one of my Facebook groups. Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
that's a good idea.
Anywhere you can get people to vote. Um and chime in, to kind of help you determine who advances in the brackets is always really fun. We just do it on Instagram, just, kind of how we've always done it, but you could do it wherever you'd like.
Yeah, anywhere you can get people to vote.
Now,
All right, I have one stitch left on my dark.
are we backstitching with 2 threads or one?
You are backstitching with 2 threads,
So a loop thread?
and my advice would be instead of going um, square by square, make it a long backstitch. So, for example, the L, you're going to start and you're going to go down 2 spots. You're not going to go down one and then down one again. So
Yeah.
if you're on the back stitching part, that's my best advice. You can go one by one. I think the first one I did one by one, and the second one I did long lines, and I think the long lines look better. So up to you, but that's how I did mine. And definitely 2 strands. Otherwise, you won't really be able to see
Yeah.
the lettering because it's so thick. All right. And if you haven't stitched this yet and you're not stitching right now, if you're going to stitch it later, if you don't want to use these sulkies, or if you want to do different colors, obviously it's interchangeable. You can do whatever colors you like. If you don't like purple conversation hearts, you can do whatever. My only suggestion would be make sure that your outer color is just the darker version so that you get that 3D effect.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm starting my back stitching. Don't worry about your tail in the back when you're back stitching. I'm gonna tuck mine, but I don't need to worry about getting it super tight because once I get this in, it's not gonna go anywhere because that thread is so thick. The other thing too is now that you're stitching behind all these threads, feel free to drag your stitches. You don't have to worry about not dragging between these letters. You won't be able to see that. Now, I will say, if you are backstitching on something different and you're doing it behind, say, a white, you want to be careful because you might be able to see your backstitching or your threads behind your stitches if you have a super light color. So, Kristen, are you doing long stitches?
Yes, I am.
Ew. Yeah, I definitely think that that's better.
It's like stitching through carpet.
I know.
This is very thick for me. I'm not a thick stitch.
I love it. It's not prim.
All done.
All right, I'm coming. I'm just finishing up my E. It's cute, right?
It's so cute. I love, and this little itty bitty hoop.
Yeah. All right, I am donezo. All right, let me. Is anyone else done?
Chime in.
I don't know. Isn't that tissue paper cute?
It's so cute.
Okay, I'm done. All right, so when you are. Oh, yay, Erin. Of course, Erin's the world's fastest stitcher. her needle has smoke behind it. That's okay, Janelle.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, so you can take your chart and you can put it aside because we're done with that.
Okay.
I'm gonna take my project out of my Q-snap. At this point, you will take yours out of your hoop or whatever you are using and take your needle minders off. All right, so now you should be left with this. Now, this will all dissolve, but it's going to take 85 years for that to happen. So we want to cut off as much excess as we can, but we don't want to get too close to our stitches. The other thing is, you got to be real careful here not to cut your organza. Okay, so here's the best way that I have figured out how to do this without risking cutting my organza. I'm going to lay it flat and I'm going to grab my soluble and I'm just going to like bunch up my organza underneath.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
Okay. So I'm going to hold it by this bunched organza, and I'm just going to use my scissors and cut around. I would leave, I'll show you how much I'm leaving.
I already saw. I was like, oh,
So I just left about that much.
I was safe. Okay.
Okay. Do not cut your organza. You will screw this up.
Yikes.
All right. And then I mentioned in my email you're going to need like a little container. I'm just using like a takeout container. So I'm going to step away for a second and fill this up. I always use hot water or like warm water. The other night I just used like cold tap water and it worked just fine. But I think hot water might make it dissolve a little bit faster. So if you have hot water, use it. And then also while you're doing that, grab a dish towel because we're going to use this to kind of pat things dry. So I'm going to go get my water. And of course, my water is freezing. Okay.
Wait for my.
It's all right. I couldn't wait. I just got cold water.
Just put it.
All right. So I'm just going to lay it flat like this and put it right in my container. I put mine face up.
Oh, face up. Okay.
And if you can, mine is in here like this.
Okay.
If all of your organza gets submerged, fine, not a problem. The organza actually is going to dry. You'll be surprised. It's going to dry very, very, very quickly.
Okay.
Okay. So now, while that's dissolving, if you guys have your glue guns handy, I'm going to plug mine in. Quit messing with it.
I'm zhuzhing it around. I'm zhuzhing.
Stop zhuzhing.
Okay. I didn't know if I needed to assist it along.
You did. Did I say zhuzh?
No, I don't listen. Instruction.
Occupy your hands and go plug your glue gun in.
Well, okay, so I forgot to bring my glue gun down, and I don't feel like going up, 3 flights of stairs to get it. So can I just use Loctite?
Yeah.
Okay.
Should be fine.
We'll figure it out. Jay, is this good? Hey, Jay. He's in the living room with and he can't even hear me.
Is it the kind of glue that reacts? Like, does it get hot? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like some like super glue, like once it touches a certain, like it gets hot.
Yeah.
Does it do that?
I don't follow instructions right now. No, I've never heard of that happening. I don't think that will happen.
Like I think, what's the glue that we use for needle minders? I think that glue gets hot, doesn't it?
Oh, this glue should work fine. I mean, it's Loctite super glue. I mean, it should it should hold no problem.
Okay.
Can
Can you see it kind of like working?
Yeah, it's like slimy.
Okay, correct. So it's gonna be slimy if you don't let it dissolve all the way. So, and you don't want that because then it'll be like sticky on your fabric.
Okay.
So you can shush it a little bit now that it's started to work.
Okay.
And you can kind of like slosh it away.
Okay.
And kind of get it moving. Okay. All right. Mine's pretty much dissolved. Is yours?
It definitely feels like it. Yes.
Okay. So here's what I do. Grab a dish towel.
Okay.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this back to the
Yeah, Sarah.
Oh my god.
I've used super glue on cuts before. It works.
Ugh. So I'm going to take this back to the sink and I'm going to run my project under water, okay? What I do is I hold it in my hand. So my project is here. I'm going to run water and I'm just going to kind of like rub it so that all of that stickiness is definitely gone. Okay. And then just put it on your towel and I'll meet you back here. All right. 9:02. We're making good time. What the hell is she doing? What are you doing?
I was just patting it.
Oh, Jesus. With a hammer?
I was just patting. I like rolled it up in the towel and then I was like trying to get the water off.
Okay. You don't need to do all that.
Okay.
All right. So I just have mine in a towel and I'm very delicately tapping it dry. Now, you'll notice your organza is bone dry. It dries very fast. But your stitches are probably still a little bit wet. Now, here's the deal. In a perfect world, we would let this dry overnight. We're not going to mess anything up because we're all going to be super careful because we don't have time to dry this overnight. If you are putting a paper background behind it that's like printed, I have screwed that up because I've done it too fast and it got wet and then my ink dripped. But we should be fine because this is so tiny. So, next step, grab your box and you are going to, it's so cute, right?
Cute. I love it.
All right, you're going to take out your hoop. You're going to take out your ribbon. And from your little baggie, you are going to take out your light pink background paper. And you can also pull out your conversation hearts. Everything else in here, there's directions, there's a cookie recipe, and some tissue paper if you put cookies in here.
Oh, that's freaking cute.
Okay. Oh, and obviously you need your box. All right, my glue gun is smoking. All right, so first what we are going to do is grab your hoop. Now, there's two ways that you can do this. You can have this positioned on here straight up and down. So your ribbon goes here. My only concern with that is that your ribbon might cover the hump of the heart. So it might kind of be distracting. I'm going to do mine like this.
Okay.
So that my ribbon goes sideways.
Mm-hmm.
That's important to know because we're about to put this in here. So by default, normally I would put it in, straight up and down. Make sure that when you're putting it in here, you're positioning it so that this is off to the side. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to open up your hoop and you're just going to put it in, and you're going to tighten it as tight as you can. And I'll show you kind of what I do to get it. I like mine like a drum, like really tight. All right, so I'm going to tighten my hoop kind of as much as I sort of can, with it leaving a little bit of give. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of pull this excess out a little bit so that it gets tight. Just be careful not to pull it too hard because you don't want to warp your stitches. So remember, the more you mess with the organza, the less stability it's going to have. So pull it so that it's tight, but don't pull it too tight so that your heart is crooked.
I think that's all the tighter I can make this hoop.
Yeah, okay. And don't worry which way your hardware is facing directionally. It's going to get covered. So, all right. And then we're going to leave this. We have all this excess, right? I'm actually going to, I have a lot. I'm going to cut off just a little bit, but I'm not going to cut it close to the hoop. So I'm just cutting off about leaving a couple inches around. All right. Okay. Now, grab your conversation hearts, and I want you to place them on your background paper. And they are too thick to like flip around in there. So yes, they will move around and shake around, but they're not going to flip upside down. So place them on your background paper face up in sort of the general pattern that you want them to be in.
Do we do
all right? So, yeah, I think I put enough in there that they will all fit. If you want to take one out, you might want to do that. I have 8 in here. And I think I gave you 9. Did you just eat one?
I did, because it was a duplicate.
Oh. Aren't they gross?
It's definitely okay.
So gross.
That's cute.
All right. So put your hoop over it just to kind of see what it's going to look like. I think I'm going to take one out. I'm going to take this pink one out. All right. So get them kind of all in the middle. And now you're going to take your glue and you're going to glue along the outside of the hoop, and you're going to glue your hoop down. Okay. Be careful that your excess organza does not flip into your glue and get stuck there. So don't cut it off yet, but just make sure that you're careful with that excess. And this is where I burn myself.
Okay, this may seem like a stupid question, but I can put it on the organza, though, that's sticking out.
Yes.
Part.
Yes. All right, so now this is what we have. Let me know how that Loctite works.
Yeah, that's dangerous. Okay. Okay.
All right. So now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut as close to the hoop as I can. So you're cutting off your excess organza and your excess paper. So I'm just cutting it as close to the hoop as I can get.
Okay. I gotta go get a different pair of scissors.
Yeah, you're not going to want to use stitching scissors for this. All right. Now, this part up here by the hardware, don't worry about getting in there. It's going to get covered by your ribbon. So if you have a little sticking out there, don't worry about it. So now what you should have is your hoop with the filling. And then you are going to just glue it onto your box. So you can put glue right on the back there. And then again, just make sure that it's positioned so that that hardware is off to the side. Oh, Allison, I can't wait to see you either. It's coming up so soon.
Hell yeah. Okay.
All right.
Oh, no.
What did you do?
The Loctite is not lock tightening.
Oh no.
Okay, hold on.
Your picture is frozen, so I can't see what you're doing. I can hear you, but
Oh, sorry. Oh, my.
that's all right. Oh, there you go.
Hey, Jay. Uno momento. Hey, can you run up? Can you run up and get my hot glue gun?
All right. If you are this far, grab your ribbon, and we are going to do, this is Erin's famous bow that she taught me that I use all the time now, and I love it so much. So you are going to cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 hearts on your ribbon. You guys might have white ribbon with red hearts. I think there's a mixture. Count in 6 hearts and cut those off, but keep it. All right. And then you're going to take your longer piece and you're just going to make a loop. All right. So without burning yourself, glue your ribbon in a loop.
Okay, hold on. You said six hearts.
6 hearts. Yeah.
That's tiny.
That's just for the middle piece.
Okay.
So use your longer piece to make your hoop.
Okay.
And then right where you glued it together, you're going to put a little dab of glue on the inside and glue the middle together.
Okay. I have super glue all over myself.
I'm sure you do.
Jay's bringing me my hot glue gun.
The Loctite was not a success.
Thank you. Do not, I repeat, do not use super glue. It's not quick. You know, obviously.
Oh, it doesn't dry fast enough.
Yeah, it's not as fast as a hot glue gun.
Okay, so now you should have this situation. And you are going to take your teeny tiny piece that you cut off of the 6 hearts, and you're going to use that as your wrap in the middle.
Waiting.
And yes, this is Erin's sorcery of bows. It's the only bow that I know how to make anymore. Actually, I learned this from Erin doing our finish at last year's retreat.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then you can just cut your excess off without cutting your ribbon like I just did. Okay. And then you've got this cute little ribbon. The other thing that Erin does too that's awesome is she'll do one circle and then put a smaller one right on top of it and then put something around the middle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Amazing. All right. We're almost done. Did you get your hot glue going?
I'm cranking it up. I'm cranking up the heat.
Okay. All right. So now I'm just going to take my ribbon and I'm going to glue it right onto the hardware of my hoop. And then, folks, we will have a finished product.
Just the cutest little Valentine's project. I love it.
As soon as that dries, I'll show you what I have. Ta-da!
I love it.
I love that it shakes.
Yeah.
And then you can put whatever you want inside.
So freaking cute.
We did it.
In like record time. That really did not.
Like, really? That took an hour, honestly, to FFO. Stitch, finish, FFO. So there we have it.
This would be a
Yes, Erica, you can make this.
Yes, Erica, you can.
Start to FFO in an hour. Hey, that's the name of my game.
Stitched
There
FF.
you have it.
Oh boy.
Stitched, FFO'd, done. Gifted. I'm gonna go give this to Michael. Here you go.
Valentine's Day.
All right, I'll wait for you to finish yours before we say our goodbyes.
All right, hang on here. I'm almost done. I'm sticking to it.
Also, you could use this pink box. If you're going to gift this to somebody, you could put it in this box.
Jewels, cookies, candies. Yeah, the possibilities are endless. This is such a cute idea too for like any holiday to just get one of these little boxes.
Anything. You could do like a tiny little clover and do like a St. Patrick's Day thing, and you could fill it with gold coins.
Like those little gold chalks.
Yes.
Yeah.
How cute is that? You could do it in like a round box. You can get these wooden boxes. I did not get mine at the craft store, but you can get them at the craft store. And they have all different shapes and sizes. Bunny with jelly beans.
Yep.
Easter candy. Yes. Chocolate eggs. Oh, Lord, it's chocolate egg season.
It is chocolate season.
Yes. Little leprechaun trap. I'm telling you. Tiny little clover. A tiny little bunny. I do lots of, I drew this pattern, but I do lots of or I'm sorry, I charted it. I do lots of searches for mini cross stitch patterns. So if you're looking to do something small on organza, to do something like we're talking about, um, Google like tiny cross stitch or miniature cross stitch, even micro cross stitch. And then these are, I think these hoops are 2.5 inches.
Oh, okay. 2.5 inches.
Oh, chocolate eggs, yes. Yeah. Um, those chocolate eggs are my weakness. It's terrible. It's an addiction.
Yay.
Yeah, I think these hoops are 2.5 inches. So if you're gonna do something on a box about this size, that fits perfect. But I think the hoop finish works perfectly because, like I said, it'll hold this tight, but then you can put it on anything. So this is not just a hoop finish; it's a whole gift. So there you go, it's a whole thing. Kristen, thank you for doing this live together with me, so I didn't have to sit here and talk to myself the whole night.
Well,
um,
oh, I froze.
what?
Oh, I froze again. Hold on.
You're not. I think you unfroze.
It's hard to say. My phone's dying at the moment, so who knows what's happening, but I'll plug myself
That's
in.
all right.
Oh, a
We're
gift
about
card
done.
in
So
there too. Yeah.
yeah, you could put anything in there.
Mm-hmm.
M&Ms, candy, whatever.
Yeah, this was super fun, Jodi. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you guys for joining. Kristen, thank you for your help. Erin, Erica, thank you for your help. I'm so excited we did it.
Me too.
Maybe we'll do another one. Maybe not. I don't know.
We should definitely.
All right, guys. If you need to rewatch this, it'll be up on the channel. So if you're not done stitching, you can watch it again if you need the instruction. But yay, I hope you guys had fun. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Jodi.
Go Eagles.
Go Eagles.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.